Welcome. For those who don't know, this is Elder Amoja Ajabu, your host for Ajabu Speaks. This program is dedicated to stripping the clothes off of well-dressed lies, and there are a bunch of well-dressed lies running around here. This program analyzes worldwide events from a Pan-Africanist point of view. And when you're talking about a Pan-Africanist point of view, that's a view based on your identity as an African because you're indigenous to the African continent. So it's not based on your citizenship, whether that be France, Portugal, Germany, Russia, America, Canada, no matter where you are. It's not based on those policies. It's based on you and where you came from in this land that's on the face of the earth. And so it's more than likely right there where we came from, our identity, Pan-Africanism. This program is based on us looking at things from where we came. You know, this place right here, where we came, Africa. And and it takes an unapologetic view of looking at the things that's best for us. Not that we want to harm anybody else, but because people have harmed us in our history, we can't look at it from everybody's point of view. We got to look at it from our point of view so that we have an understanding where we are in the things that that's called life. And I told y'all that when the Biden as a candidate said that he was not going to pardon his son, I told you that he was lying. And I don't blame him. I understand that he looked at it in his interest, and it wasn't in his interest to tell the truth when he was a candidate, but as he got ready to get out of the office, he pardoned his son. And I told you that was going to happen. With age and wisdom, it allows you to see a little bit into the future because you done seen stuff before, and I don't blame him. If I was in a position to stop my son or even to get my son out of the legalized slavery, Lord knows I'd do it. So I don't blame him. But the question that we have at hand is, how are we as a people going to be able to get ours out, get in a position to get ours out, because we don't want our people enslaved. We don't care what they done. Enslavement is not no way to treat somebody. And that doesn't mean that people may not need to be separated from the society. But in your separation, that don't mean that they need to be enslaved, which is the policy here in America because of the ultimate law. And so we are saying that that has to change. Now, to show how it can change, I gave you an analysis last week of how Duck has made a deal with Putin over here in Russia so that Putin can come down here and conquer Ukraine so that he can have access to the Black Sea and a travel through Iran and Iraq, Syria, that will get him down here to the Mediterranean and access to Africa. And so Duck wants to control from the southern tip of North America, of South America, through Canada, over here to Germany. He's willing well, no, he don't want to go down here. He wants to go right here to the Panama Canal. Right here, the Panama Canal. He don't want to go all the way down here. He just wants to go to the Panama Canal, and he thinks that if he does that, and looks like he's trying to do that militarily, he's using money, and his game plan is to implode Canada's economy with the tariffs. He wants to buy Greenland from Denmark, but it looks like he wants to intercede militarily to come down through here and take the rest of this land strip here, because he's got troops right here in Texas. And these are the kind of troops that are trained to take land quickly. Why would he want to take land quickly? And this is supposed to be, the troops are supposed to be down here because he don't want people coming here across the border illegally. And look like that stopped. They say now only about 30 people a day are trying to get across the border illegally. So you don't need 4,000 troops to stop that, Duck. Something else going on. And so it looks like that he wants to expand down here to the Panama Canal, and he thinks that his intelligence tells him that China over here is in control over here, and if he tries to come down here and militarily take this, he might get into a situation with China, and so he wants Russia to say that he won't support China if China gets into a situation with him here in the Panama Canal. And so he says to Putin, look, man, you can have Ukraine if you don't mess with me while I'm trying to take the Panama Canal. And you can hear that analysis on my last show, and you can catch that at www.ajabuspeaks.squarespace.com. As a Pan-Africanist, we look at Duck's expansionist desires with the understanding that that fight is not ours. We have a fight, but that is not it. Africans' fight involves all the players mentioned, Putin, Xi in China, Duck in America. All of them are players in this game, but they fighting a fight that's not ours. We're talking about a fight that's ours, and that's on the African continent. And it's on the African continent because the Europeans in the late 1800s had the audacity to sit down at a table in Berlin and divide Africa up and talk about how they was going to control this hand. They sitting over here in Germany having a meeting talking about how they going to divide up the African continent. And now the brothers on the African continent are suffering from the decisions that they made there, because at that conference, France was authorized to pretty much take all of this of Africa. Burkina Faso, Niger, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Mauritania, Libya, you know, they were given all of this. But what's happening right now is the brothers here in Burkina Faso and in Niger and Mali, right there, are saying that, look, it's time for the decisions that were made at the Berlin Conference to stop. And so in order to stop it, they took and ran France out of their countries. France, right there. Ran them out of their country. And they are Pan-Africanists. And they're saying that if they're Pan-Africanists, then they're talking about using the resources and governing for the totality of the African continent and its people that is out here in the diaspora. They have formed an organization that they call the Alliance for Sahel States, but they say AES, but it's the Alliance for Sahel States, and they have a Pan-Africanist view, and they're saying that the way for Africans to go forward is to become homogenous, become as one. And they're becoming as one because what they're doing is they're taking a lesson from Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is the only country, our people, the Africans on the African continent, that was not colonized because of this meeting over here in Germany, in Berlin. And the brothers here are looking at the lessons there, that they say that if Ethiopia was able to defeat the Italians and stop their scramble for Africa, then there's lessons to be learned there. And they're learning the lessons, they done learned the lessons, and they're implementing the lessons, and this is what the lessons are. Ethiopia understood that it had a centralized government, it had a standing army, and it had a long history of a strong centralized rule, military, and it allowed itself to maintain independence because it was willing to fight. Unlike many other African nations, Ethiopia had a long history of a strong centralized state with a standing army and a relatively unified culture. They saw themselves as one. They weren't trying to break themselves down into tribes and I'm on the west side and you on the east side. They saw themselves as one. And the brothers in the Sahel are learning those lessons that allowed the Ethiopians to beat the Europeans, and they was the only ones. I mean, now Liberia wasn't colonized, but that was because Liberia had already been colonized by America, who wanted to get Africans that they done stole from the African continent, wanted to get them out of the country here, and so established a colony in Liberia, right down through here. And so when it came time for the scramble, nobody, France more than likely, tried to take Liberia because they wanted to respect that it was owned by the United States. I'm telling y'all, I'm unbossed and unafraid of the truth. And this is the truth. This is what is happening in the world. And right now, the brothers in the Sahel are learning the lessons of the brothers in Ethiopia that said, now look, if it worked in Ethiopia, then it can work for the totality of the African continent. And they are about doing that business. They're unifying. And they're running the French. They're running the French out of the country and telling them that we don't care what you said or what went on at the Berlin conference. You can't come in here and control nothing anymore. What you done stole, you done got. You can't get no more. And the thing is that they took this land, and they're saying that if we can help them over here in the United States, then we're welcome to come back home and benefit, or even to stay here if you want it. And I don't know why you want to stay here the way that they treat us, but if you want to keep on getting that, you know, they're saying that even if you decide that, you can still benefit from the resources that are on this African continent, which is the richest resources in the world. Russia don't have those resources. China don't have those resources. Europe don't have those resources. Greenland sure enough don't. North America, United States, North, South America, North, Central America has the resources that are located over here on the African continent. And the brothers are saying that, look, if you help us to secure it, then you can benefit from it no matter where you are, because you are an African. That's Pan-Africanist thought. And see, we can help. They done took over their countries, and when you're talking about their countries, there's only, let me see, in Burkina Faso, it has a population of 23.4 million. Mali has a population of about 24.4 million. Nigeria has a population of 26.2 million. We have a population of 40 million. There's a bunch of us up in here. They got 130 to 50 million of us down in here. So if 20 million, or say 60 million, if you put them all three together, but if 20 million apiece ran France out of the continent, then 40 million of us, properly organized, can control our destiny here. Now, we wouldn't want to take it over like the white boy done. We ain't thieves. But we do need to have some more dignity relied or applied to us than what's being applied up in here. That's killing us in the streets and enslaving us in the jail. Oh, they got to stop. And if we unify as along the lessons that Ethiopia taught us, then we can get that task done. We can stop them. We'll be strong enough. We'll make brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. Now let me put that what I've just said in an economic light. I visited South Africa. When I visited South Africa, I was introduced to a chief that owned land on the southern tip of Africa, and he gave me a tour, and in the tour he showed me 5 mines. In those mines, or out of those mines, they was getting gold, manganese, lithium, I mean just a bunch of valuable minerals. He told me that even though that they was getting that land, or the people that was mining that land, the white folks that was taking the minerals out of his land, said that they paid the government $25 billion a month just to mine. Those 5 mines. $25 billion a month. Now, do you understand? And he said that if we, because they're going to fight, and he said when they fight, they know that other folks is going to try to jump in. You know, they said that if we could mobilize, and the other folks they talking about is the United States of America, if we could mobilize and stop them from fighting over here so that he can get the value from the minerals that's in his land, he says that $25 million or $25 billion a month, he would be willing to give that to us. Do you realize if 40 million people divided $25 billion equally, that each of us, every man, woman, child, and girl, would get $625? If you got 4 people in your family, that's an extra $2,600, $2,700 a month. Just for being you. Just for telling the United States that they're going to have a problem out of you if they go over here and try to harm any of the leaders over here on the African continent. 40 billion of us organized can stop the United States or anybody else, but us here in America, can stop a policy that says that they're going to go over here and interfere the brothers from securing the totality of Africa. And when you talk about the 5 mines in South Africa, there's 561 mines in South Africa. Just think of the resources that are there. And that's in South Africa. That ain't saying nothing about all of this. Mali is, I think, the 13th largest gold dealer in the world. Niger is the 27th largest gold producer in the world. Mali is the 16th. Burkina Faso is the 4th largest gold producer on the African continent and 13th in the world. Their folks are rich. But because the Europeans had a meeting in Berlin and have been stealing the resources, they're not living close to how they should be living with the amount of resources that are in the land on which they reside, which is rightfully theirs, which is rightfully ours. And they said enough. And they're saying that they're willing to share with all Africans because they understood that we started here, we were stolen basically down here and brought across the Atlantic to here, and now we just got all over this place, and there's 40 million of us. We can organize and stop the theft of the resources that should be used or being used for our benefit. All of us, no matter where we are. So I don't blame Biden, Genocide Joe, for setting his son free. I'm saying that we need to get in a position of power to where it's that we can set them all free up in here. We don't want any of our people enslaved. There's no way for humans to interact with humans. And we got to get organized to do that. We can organize, unify, control this right here, and the quality of our life will escalate to a degree that most of us cannot even imagine. All because we be who we are. We don't try to be somebody else. We be Africans. We African people. And we some bad folks. And see, if we organize, we control the world not because we take it, because they need the resources coming from here in order to do the technological stuff that they want to do wherever it is that they want to do it. But then what's going to happen is we will start to industrialize, because now the intelligentsia that's here, and when you talk about the world, the most educated African is located here in America. Once we become a Pan-African thought, then we take that expertise that we got and take it over here to the African continent, and we start to make that thing pop. It makes enough for us, shoot, more than we can expend. And so at that point, then we can talk about how we can share it with the rest of the world. We can send them our cars, and we can send them our food, because, shoot, Zimbabwe is so fertile. It has 3 growing seasons a month, and it feed all that. It can feed the whole continent, because it's fertile like that. But we would create the distribution system to where it's that we could benefit from the resources that's coming from our land, and the food that's grown on it also. It's a win-win. You can listen to Elder Ajabu every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time at www.919witt.org. I said that's every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern at www.919witt. If you missed the program, and I really recommend that you go back and listen to the program that's up now, but it's going to get taken down here today, so that you start to understand the analysis of how Russia has made a deal with Duck to get Ukraine so that he can have access to the Black Sea and a land route to the African continent. Go back, I recommend you go back and see that, read that, and you can do both. You can see it and hear it, and you will find out that the elder is unbumped. And let me say again, you can do that at www.ajabuspeaks.squarespace.com. I said you can do that at www.ajabuspeaks.squarespace.com. It is time for African people to get organized. It is time for us to take our rightful place in the world order of things. We can't keep letting people, especially here, lump their struggle with us, even though we don't have anything with brown people, the Mexicans or the Costa Ricans or the Panamanians or the South Americans, that those Spanish-speaking people, that we don't have any problem with them. But nobody, nobody was treated like Africans were treated here in America. Nobody else was enslaved. Now they tried to slave the people that they found here, and they couldn't handle it. They killed them. We survived. And now we thrive. And now we getting ready to come alive to where it's that we're going to take our rightful place in the world order of things. It's time. And you do that with a Pan-African thought. Who are you, or who are we, as an African people. And as an African people, shoot, everybody, I don't care what you do, you eat, you got a place to stay, and there's a way for you to get where you need to go, even if you have to walk. Unbossed and unafraid of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the butt naked truth. You ready?